come in.
Yeah, please. I've just had a chance to meet with the families, those who have lost loved ones. It's very difficult on all of them. It's very difficult for all of them because when they look at this situation, it just seems senseless that they would have lost a loved one because somebody became a distracted driver. In one case here, it was a young man who came back on leave from the service. He wasn't killed on the battlefield. He was killed in a car accident because somebody wasn't paying attention. It almost seems like a senseless loss of life. And the only thing that we can think about is that for whatever reason the Lord allowed it to happen. So to me it's not senseless, but it's devastating. And every one of these families have been shaken to the core. And for those people that might think this is somehow an invasion of their rights or a nanny state or whatever, come meet these families. Talk to them about the fact that somebody was not responsible. You see, because when we call or we text and we drive, we endanger the life of others. You know, it's one thing if we endanger our own lives. It's another thing when we bring tragedy to families that, in all likelihood, could be avoided. There's not a mom or a dad who doesn't worry about the day that their kids turn 16. Not one. And we worry about the fact that they'll have too many kids in the car, that they're going to be using their cell phone, they're going to be texting. Every time I meet one of these young people, and I ask them, do you have your driver's license? They say, yeah. I said, I better not catch you texting. I was up at Ohio State Fairgrounds, and they had a booth set up where you could get in the booth and you could text and you could try to drive. Every time I did it, I crashed the car up there. I mean, no more of a vivid example to me about the fact that a distracted driver becomes a menace to anybody else on the road. Now, we've had a war against drunk driving. We're having a war against driving under the influence of a controlled substance. All because we know that when you operate a vehicle that way, you pose a danger to others. And freedom is only extended to that it gets into my sphere. And when it comes to distracted driving, texting, and cell phone use among our young people, they not only could lose their precious lives and the lives of their friends and their brothers or sisters who were in the car, but in this case, they took the lives of people they didn't know. So I think this is absolutely appropriate. Nancy Garland and Rex Damschroder come together to work on this legislation, work its way. I wasn't in the middle of it, but I can promise you it was not an easy road. Probably a lot of dispute, a lot of questions. Adults, you don't drive any better than kids do. when you're texting. Don't do it. You know, I rarely talk about the death of my parents from a drunk driver. But what I do know over time is if that driver could have turned back the hands of time and to avoided this death that he caused, I'm sure he would have done it. And the tragedy here is probably in all probability the same. These texters, these people using their cell phone, if they could turn back the hands of time, they would, because they wouldn't want to be involved in driving a lethal vehicle and killing somebody. So for all of us who still drive, don't make that mistake. And the reason this is so important is it sends such a strong message to our young people, many of whom are gathered behind us today. We're looking out for you. We're looking out for your mom and dad and your brother and your sister. It's a good law. It's needed in our state. And I want to thank the legislature, and I want to thank these families. These families are finding some relief by doing something constructive to help others. They are. They've been to Washington. They talk to one another. It's a hard road back, folks. It's a hard road back when you don't have a dad, when you lose your only son, when your soldier son is killed on leave, on a break to come home and see the family. They all have their stories. They'll all heal. This helps to heal, to help them to heal. But the greatest healer of them all is the Lord. And I've asked them to seek that. It's helped me, and I know it will help them. But this is a good step forward in helping them to realize that by looking out for the lives of some other people, they make the world a little bit better place. This is why we're doing this. This young man would have graduated on Saturday from high school. Thank you. Dot the R. The dot. It's the R. Who doesn't know? Your dad. Dot the I. Dot this I. It's now law. Matt? Who did lose here? 0?
Yes, sir.
You got 1 pen left, Matt. You're in charge of it. Okay, Scott?
Perfect. Do you just want to make some remarks for the voting?
Rex, sure, like to. Yes, it's all yours.
Thank you, Governor.